What I'm going to show you in this section is the introduction to rotoscoping, and I will, obviously once you've seen this, I'll explain what rotoscoping is, but just to show you what you can achieve with rotoscoping. This is just one piece of footage, but we can do that with it. Yeah, rotoscoping. I absolutely love it, and it opens up a whole world of possibilities. So to start off, we've got our footage picked out in ArtGrid, and I can see that there's a UHD HQ. I'm going to get the highest quality possible, and you'll see why. So we're going to add to cart. It's added to cart, and we're going to check out. Go to my footage, and we download the UHD HQ version. And to save you that long, laborious thing, I won't be talking through too much. I'm just obviously bringing in the footage. We're completely used to that now. And we're going to create a new sequence from the clip. I'm going to rename this Walking the Walk, and double click. We're in here anyway. And here we are. And I love this. First and foremost, let's just have a look at the sequence settings. Just to confirm, 3840, so we're 4K footage, so that's all well and good. And I love this footage. It's just so, it's beautiful. And I love this definite line all the way through this, because this is going to be the best way to kind of show this effect. And then we'll build on that in a future section. So with this clip, we've duplicated it. We know how to do that. Alt and drag up. We have After Effects open. So we're just going to right click and replace with After Effects. There's our old screen from, yeah, remember that? Just going to give this a bit of time to load in. This is actually automatically saving the project. Remember what we've talked about earlier on in the course and how autosave runs? Sometimes, well, more often than not, it happens where you're doing something at the exact same time as something else. So what we're going to use to do this? Well, first off, we need to do what's called rotoscoping. And what rotoscoping is it's kind of like what we did with a mask, and we say we drew a circle around him, and then we tracked him. We said track mask. It's kind of like that, but it's like it's on another level. So first off, what I'm going to do is I'm going to duplicate in this as well, because we're going to effectively have two layers. We're going to have a layer with just this on, and then we're going to have a layer with everything on. So I'm going to select this, and I'm going to Control D to duplicate it. I'm going to hide the one behind it because we don't need it for now. I'm actually going to lock it as well, so I can't do anything with it. And to start rotoscoping, first off, and I know it might really hurt your machine, but we need to change the quality to full. Okay. Then what we do is we come up to the rotoscoping brush, which is right here, Rotoscope Tool, and we just click that. And then we go into, we don't go into there. that's the previous. Let's find that. There we go. And what we want to do is we want to double click so we're in here. And you see now, when we weren't in here, we didn't have this brush, but when we are, we do. If I come back to here, I've got this brush, but there's no brush here. I've got this brush selected, but it's not changed anything. But if we come into here, which is the next layer below, we now have this brush. So what is this brush? Well, this is the Roto brush. And as you can see right now, this is kind of starting to pre-render, but this is all going to change. So first and foremost, we draw a kind of just a nice rough sketch as to what we want. And really, I'd like to kind of roto brush him as well, or her, that person. But the main thing that we're looking to roto brush out is this front plane, this mountain, not that mountain. We first need to size up this brush, and it's not your scroll wheel, because obviously your brush is going up in size there, but it's actually going up in size in comparison with the whole image. We want a bigger brush with the image the same size. So if we hold down Control and then drag up with our mouse, on the left mouse button, sorry, we increase or decrease, whether up or down, decrease the size. Okay, good. So we want to just quickly mark out this bit. So green is to keep and red is to reject. So I'm just going to draw a big line down there. And as you can see, all of a sudden, we now have a purple box or a pink box. That has already picked out that for us just by drawing that one line. So I'm going to zoom in a little bit. Don't forget spacebar, you can move around. I'm going to use my control and size this down a little bit. And I want to include these bits of highlight. So I'm just going to click here once and see how it does with picking that up. Yep, it's picked that up. And we're going to click here and that's picked up, maybe up here. Good. Okay, I'm going to push it a little bit. Let's go all the way in here and see. Oh, I always do mouse button. It's like that in Photoshop. Control, size this down, and let's see if we can pick out this figure as well. So if I just do it, maybe it might be a little bit small, but okay, that's ours. But we don't want the legs. It might not really matter, but for accuracy, I'm just going to draw a little bit over here. It's not showing up, but it will read it. It's really close. We're right into the pixels here, and it's starting to kind of work its way along. And that's ruined it. So let's Control and Z to remove that. And this is the thing with Rotobrush. It's brilliant, but sometimes it tries to be too clever. So I'm just going to undo that. You never want to kind of deselect where is selected, because it's almost like you're telling it to learn, okay, I wanted a bit of that, but I don't want this. So okay, Control Z has worked. And you know what, for the sake of this, I don't know, we're not going to bother. We'll be a little bit more more technical in future, but let's just see what we're doing now. So if you can see here, this is the Rotobrush and Refine Edge kind of, what did it call it? Span. Okay, so what we now want to do is we've fed in this information. Let's click forward just maybe a little bit, just here. And now what's doing is it's propagating. So it's moving along these frames and it's trying to track that. And as you saw, if you could have just seen there, as it moved, it's kept that shape. So I'm going to click forward a little bit more and let that see if it can kind of track that again. And yeah, it's done it quite well. It's quite a definite shape though, which is quite good. And although you don't see it, as this green bar is moving along, it's working through all of the frames. I'm just going to click way along and let's see, there's 92 frames there. Let's see how well that does. Just fast forward a little bit, and as you can see, this has just gone off screen just for fun. Thanks for that. But this is starting to propagate all the way through. The thing is, this is big footage, so it kind of needs the time to go through, and that's what rotobrushing is doing. It's actually starting to propagate further on than where we're at, and it's lost a little bit here. You just need to give it a bit of time and work through. But I'm going to kind of push it. I'm going to come all the way over because I'm actually really quite confident that the Rotobrush will be able to track this quite easily. This is using this is Rotobrush 2. This is technically called. This is using Adobe Sensei, and it just gets better and better as they develop it. And again, this is a point to be made for the subscription service. You'd wait to maybe once a year, maybe once 18 months for a new update, and you'd have to upgrade and pay. Whereas with this is a manageable monthly payment that you get used to, and you get the new stuff as soon as it's available. You can also opt into beta and get the stuff that isn't quite available because it's not like completely finished, but you kind of get the tools ahead of time to start playing with them. And yeah, I will come back when this is finished. I'll make a note. It's 1:15 now. Let's see how long this takes. Okay, so we look to be making some kind of headway. We've lost it back here, but we know it did actually put it in here at some point. Now this could be down to the cache and the RAM that you have available in your computer. I'm just going to check off screen with regards to my cache, and I've got loads. I have an absolute load. But yeah, what you should do, best practice is you should allow the green to completely fill all the way up. However, generally you don't really use Rotobrush for such a long clip. Maybe that's where my mistake was, but I want all of this. I want it all. I'm sure that's a song. And as you can see, the brush is kind of keeping. It is keeping there, and it's keeping enough for what I want it to do, really. So let's just let it do this one last pass, and I think we'll have enough to get the effect that we want to get. It's teasing me now. So here's the propagation coming up to where I've actually selected, and it's actually ahead of me because it's running these this chevroned blue bar. And as we just come up to the playhead, we'll just check how the actual selection is going. It's still, I mean, it's still very, very accurate. There's little bits, but I mean, that doesn't really bother me. So I'm just going to grab my playhead. I'm going to pull it right to the end here. I'm going to let it go all the way through, and then we'll go to the next step. Okay, so that took a little bit longer than I thought it would. However, right at the end, and the majority has this green bar. Ideally, you want this green bar running all the way through to confirm that it's checked everything. But I'm confident, so I'm not going to click back. What you do at this point, when you're happy with how the Rotobrush has done, we click freeze. And this takes a bit of time. What it's doing is it's now working through each and every one of the frames, of which there are 784 of them, and it's just freezing that, so you can't do anything about it. And this is new actually with Rotobrush 2. It actually plays through and shows you, so you can kind of keep an eye on it. Where, as you can see, we're only 1% here, so we are going to speed this up. However, as you can see, this is still color, and behind is black and white. So it's kind of, it's showing you just by saturation what's being cut out. And as you can see down here, rather than a green bar, we're going to be getting a kind of a blue violet bar. And what that will show once we get to the end is that that is absolutely completely frozen. By the way, the freeze has got nothing to do with the actual footage, although I would imagine it's quite cold up there. But yeah, let's come back once this has completely finished. Now, I do think the screen recording has kind of like slowed this down quite a bit, and it looks like it's going to crash. However, this is getting towards the end now, so I am confident, he says, that it's going to complete. And it did. Good, good, good. Happy with that. Autosave project. Yes. Do that nice and quickly. Thank you very much. Yeah, good, good. We're back. Okay, so I'm going to Control and S that as well, just to save it myself. I know that's going to take a little bit longer, but I said we started this at about 1/4 the hour. It's now 22 the next hour. So yeah, nearly half an hour to rotoscope all that, which is what this is doing with the Rotobrush. So that's done. So we're now going to step out of this layer, all that frozen, and you see how that is now cut out. Remember we did this other one down here at the bottom? So we've now got these two. Okay, so if we drag this through a little bit further, we've got him there. Good. Now we don't need this bottom one. And why is that? Well, that's because we have it here. Yeah? Are you getting with me? Are you kind of understanding why I always duplicate? Because it gives us options. And if we were to do everything in here and then bring it back to Premiere Pro, we'd have to render out everything, including the back plate. We're not going to need to do that because we've got it here. So what do we do now? Well, we can do a couple of things. We can bring out our text here, or we could bring out our text on Premiere. What I'm going to do is I'm actually going to bring it out in Premiere. Am I? Yeah, I am. Because I'm going to use Premiere Composer for this. And although I can use it in After Effects here, I have the text I kind of need anyway here. It's actually going to be an effect that I can put on to it rather than actually bring in the text. And if I just tilde out here for a second, I'm going to close back up that, and if I'm going to go to Starter Pack, because this is in the free Starter Pack, and we've got text presets. And if I click on that, this shows everything here. And yeah, that's good. And I want something actually coming in from the side. Does it not? Yeah, there we go. So if I go right, it comes in from the right and then goes off to the left. Cool, that's what I want. So I'm going to add that effect. And that will be, just going to do it for the length of it, and we have the text that will come on through there. Okay, so I'm going to change this text to walk the walk, and I'm going to change this to maybe like a grey, nice grey, so it stands out. That's good. And of course we can, oh, I like that. Where did that come from? Authority. That's quite nice. I like this in Premiere Composer because it gives you a decent sized a sample of what the text is. If I go to Essential Graphics and I'm in here, because it's technically the same. If I scroll down and no, not scroll down, there's my fonts here, but it only gives you a small little sample here to the side, whereas in Premiere Composer it gives you it nice and big. So if I come here, I'm a sucker for Bauhaus New, to be honest with you, quite like that, but I don't think that really fits where we're going here. So we're going to go for maybe Castellar. No, yeah, that could be quite classic actually. And there we are. We have the text in here coming in, walk the walk. Now I want it to be kind of just maybe scaled down a little bit, because I want it to be just the other side of here. And as you can see, if I maybe pre-render half of this in and out there, just to kind of get the animation coming in, you can see that it's actually coming over the actual plate. It comes just straight in from the right hand side, and that's kind of not what we want. What we want it to do is to come in from behind here, and that's taken a while to pre-render. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to drag that above so we kind of know where we're at. And as you can see here, you see how it comes from behind? Play that, walk the walk. I think it'd be more impressive if it was actually a thicker font. So let's keep going. Not necessarily, oh, Chandler, I like Chandler, but that's not right for this at all. Chuck probably isn't right for this either. Let me find one that I like. I like walk. Yeah, that's good. That's good. Let me come back here. Let's see how that looks. Now that definitely comes from behind, but maybe it doesn't show it enough. I want motion blur on, and if I go for my animation, I want it to kind of comes in a little bit too quickly. I'm going to leave this in because I want to show you that we can actually do that in here, but I'm actually going to go back with my original thought, and I'm actually going to place it on After Effects, and I'll show you why. Because in here we've got so many more options with regard to the text animation. I'm just going to toggle off my transparency grid so I can actually see this. And if I come into starter presets, and I've got transitions for text, and I'm going to do characters. And as you can see here, we have loads. I'm just going to tilde this so you can see. And we have quite a lot of things we can do with this. And I'm actually going to animate words, and I want them coming up. If I drop that down and position, it's not the one I want. Those ones, not the one. That's the one I want. And I want it, yeah, kind of. Is it that the one I want? This is the one I want. So I want it to come up, walk the walk, and I'm animating words so it does the words individually. However, we can't really do anything with this yet, because rather than dragging it on, we need to apply it to a text layer. Okay, so what was that? Let me just undo that. What was that? Was that copper? Was that copper something? Yeah, copper plate Gothic. Okay, so we create a text layer just like we would in Premiere Pro, and we just click in here to create our text layer, and we're just going to type walk the walk. It doesn't normally take this long to catch up, but there's a lot running on the computer at the moment. I'm going to highlight it all. I'm just going to make it black so we can actually see it. And I'm actually going to, are we all the way out? Yeah, we are. It's just big text. And I'm going to size that down. That's actually, it's no Wester. That no wonder I like it. I'm going to keep it as no Wester. I don't care. I know I've used that a lot, but I don't care. I like it. And we're going to have walk the walk here. Okay, so That's good. That works for me. And we're now going to apply this one, bottom. So I want it to come in. So I want to animate it in. I'm also going to animate it out. So I'm going to have animate in, animate out. I'm going to select both. But before I do that, I'm going to check where I kind of want it to come out. I'm going to leave it in for about 16 seconds. And so to do that, I'm going to bring back this clip because it will put a tail on the end. I'll show you. If I, this is selected now for bottom, I'm going to hit both with this layer selected, hit both, and it's done. So how that will work is like this. Walk the walk. Good? Happy with that? Good. However, it doesn't start far enough away from me. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to have this selected and I'm just going to drag it off, further off the screen. So that's 1, 5, 6, 7. I'm also want it to go out to the same position. So I'm going to click this in, Control and C, click in here, Control and V. So I know it's going to go out to the same place. And I think that comes in a little bit quick. That's why I wanted to come in here as well, because you see this right here. This is what's been created by Animation Composer, and we can drag in this to make that in transition take a little bit longer, like that. And then I might have it a little bit shorter. Yeah, maybe just 10 seconds. We'll have it on for 10 seconds. And the reason why I shortened this at first is because once you shorten this, the tail out stays there. So you've got to move that as well. I was trying to save myself a click, but I didn't really need to. So I'm going to Control S that. I Control S so often just to be on the safe side, especially in After Effects, because there's so much going on in After Effects, it's easy. It crashes easier than Premiere Pro. So finally, the only couple of things I need to do is I'm going to drag this below this top layer. And I'm also going to turn on motion blur. In fact, it's turned on. Cracking. This is the motion blur effect, just to make sure that there's some blur once we're moving. All right. So as we're clicking that through, bit of blur there. And that's not that much. Is that really give me motion blur? Let me just check that again. Oh, there we are. Now we've got motion blur. I had to toggle it on and off. And that goes like that. So if I now Control S there again, I know it's a habit, but the thing is, if this auto saves once you're back in Premiere Pro, whatever you've pre-rendered quite often gets overwritten, so it doesn't go to green in Premiere Pro. It just goes back to red again. You've got to pre-render it. So there's our walk the walk. We don't want this anymore. I'm going to bring this down here just so it's nice and tidy. I'm going to hit out there, in there, and pre-render this and see how it looks. And so playing this back now that it's pre-rendered, and we've got that. Looks good, doesn't it? And what we're going to do finally is we're going to use this bottom plate again, just to reassure that this is the bottom plate right behind. And we're just going to use the fact that we've got this separate just a little bit more. And to do that, we're going to go to Effects and we're going to apply a Gaussian blur. We've used this before. We're going to drag that onto this bottom clip. And just as the text starts to come in, I'm going to blur it out, the background. And watch the back here. As we drag that up, we blur out just a little, not too much. Blur out there. We're going to repeat the edges and we're going to walk the walk. Going up. And the last thing I'm going to do is I'm actually going to offset this walk the walk just a little, because I wanted to do one other little thing. And that is, look at that one, it's just like that. It's great, isn't it? What I'm going to do is I'm just going to offset this text a little bit to about there. So that's when I want it to come in. So it's about let's say 2 seconds. Yeah, 124 frames. Okay, Control S, save that. Again, paranoid. I'm going to come to 2 seconds, and that should now disappear because it should be out at this point. And I'm going to grab both of these. I'm going to nest it while this is just catching up. I'm going to say final walk, hit OK, and we've now nested this clip. The reason why I wanted to nest this clip is because I'm now going to hit a scale position right here. And I'm also going to hit a position right here. Scale position, a scale keyframe. It didn't feel right when I said it in my mouth. And I'm going to zoom in just a little bit. He says a little bit to here. Okay. And now I'm going to drag these. And if I tilted this out, I'm just going to drag them just a little bit. Okay. Right click those and hit ease out. I'm then going to drag along a little bit, and that's as that text is coming in. You can see it just there. I'm going to reset that and reset that. So that resets everything back to where it was and adds a keyframe to there. And I'm going to ease in, tilde back out. And if I play this back now, might have to offset the text a little bit more, but yeah, let's just offset the text just a little bit more. And I want to drag out this fade out, just this zoom out just a little bit more as well. So tilde out of there, play that back. I'm going to tilde this so we can see it in full. I love it when it starts skipping frames. Oh, it's so much fun. Let me pre-render this. In fact, we don't need to pre-render it all. Let's just, when is it in? My poor machine. I've done a number of chapters today, and I think my machine is just about to say to me, Adam, please, I want the night off, which I don't blame it, to be honest with you. We've been doing a lot in After Effects. I've done probably about the last 2 or 3 chapters today in the same day. And yeah, my poor computer just wants a little bit of a lie down. I think I want a little bit of a lie down as well. I just want to take this moment and just say, I really hope you're enjoying this. Well, I hope if you're enjoying this course half as much as I'm enjoying making it, then you'll be really enjoying it, because I'm having a ball making this course, and I hope you feel like I've set you up for at least success, if not a career. Because everything that I have shown you so far, and I will show you for the rest of this course, I use a lot in my day-to-day working in this industry. So we're at full, we're good. Let's play this back. And it's good that, because it establishes it establishes this walker. I didn't notice he had skis on. And then we continue off. And okay, that took a bit of time, but a lot of it was waiting around, waiting for the machine to do it. And that's the beauty of rotoscoping. We're gonna go into a little bit more rotoscoping next, in the next section, and how to fine tune certain things and make everything work, such as like hair, which is notoriously difficult to key out. But we'll be looking at that next. But I'm going to let this computer have a little lie down for now.